I want to start this video off with a disclaimer. Um, there was a clip of Kobe Bryant post retirement. He's on a game show, and it was kind of one of those, game shows wherein they kind of force you to answer uncomfortable questions, and he would have had to been forced to eat some nasty meal or something if he didn't answer. And so with his back to the wall, and having to answer, they asked Kobe, they said, well, who is the greatest player of all time? And they asked him, is it Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or himself? And he answered that he was the best. There's another anecdote wherein Kevin Garnett says that the reason Kobe took the number 24 was as a statement that he was better than Michael Jordan. He was not 23, but 24. And so the reason I bring this up is to say this. I take no pleasure in coming for Michael Jordan and LeBron James. MJ is a hero to me, like just about everybody listening to this video. In fact, I actually credit MJ with, bringing dark-skinned brothers into style. So, because like if you're in the black community, you kind of know, like before MJ, the girls pretty much like the light-skinned guys, So, MJ, I idolized Michael Jordan just like everyone else. Even though I was a Laker fan. But I feel an obligation to make the case that Kobe didn't feel like he could make. I feel like I have an obligation to say the things that Kobe couldn't say. I don't believe Kobe was joking. I don't think he was, he wasn't kind of kidding. I think he believed that he was the best player of all time. And so there had to have been some thinking behind that. And so the first video on my channel came from Kobe. They asked Kobe about, sort of his legacy, and he made the point that, Magic never won without Kareem. Michael Jordan never won without Scotty, et cetera, et cetera. And so I kind of took the genesis of that idea, and I kind of ran with it, and I looked at it and I said, he's right. He's right, So that became the very first video of this channel. So when I lay out very triggering and inflammatory positions as the one which entitles this video, I'm doing it from a place of genuinely believing that Kobe Bryant is the greatest player in NBA history. And so with that said, I am going to lay out why I believe Michael Jordan's 6 MVPs are overrated. What do I mean overrated? Okay. This video is kind of part 2 to the video wherein I laid out that I thought Scottie Pippen should have been the MVP of the 1991 finals. Let me just say this. MJ deserved the other 5. Okay? I think the 96 finals, you could have shared it between MJ and Dennis Rodman, but Michael Jordan deserved, in my opinion, the other 5 finals MVPs. And if the definition of MVP is basically who was the best player on the floor, yes, Michael Jordan was the best player on the floor on either team in every single one of his finals. Okay? So what do I mean overrated? What I mean overrated is that when people talk about MJ's 6 MVPs, finals MVPs, they present that accomplishment in the context of a conversation about MJ's greatness to support the narrative that because MJ was the only player to have 6 finals MVPs, he's the only one that could have done it. And that's what I'm pushing back on. Okay? And the reason I'm pushing back on it is the defense. Even acknowledging the fact that Michael Jordan was part of that defense. I understand that. It is still my contention that playing alongside not 1 but 2 all defense caliber teammates, several players in NBA history would have 6 finals MVPs. Kobe most definitely would. Most definitely. You give Kobe probably the greatest wing defender in NBA history. Okay? And another great defender, be it Dennis Rodman or a very good defender in Horace Grant. And also you add the caveat that neither of those players are going to be the number 1 option on your team. Kobe's going to get those finals MVPs. Okay? LeBron would have done it. Okay? A lot of players in NBA history would have 6, and I'm going to say just about anyone in NBA history with 5 to 6 all defense teams, and that's about a 20-point per game score, would be able to do it. Because that would be enough to be the number 1 option, paired with, a 16-point per game score, which is Scottie Pippen. He would have been the number 1 option on his team, and he would have been good enough defensively to maintain that defense. By the way, okay, speaking of that defense, let's not forget that the Bulls' defense remained great without Michael Jordan. During both 1994 and 95, the Bulls' defense remained great without Michael Jordan. Okay? So, I'm not here to say that the Bulls' defense wouldn't have skipped a beat without Michael Jordan. Okay? What I am here to say is that the Bulls' defense put on 6 of the greatest defensive performances in NBA Finals history. Okay? They beat these teams. I want you to really think about this. You've got the Utah Jazz, the pick and roll Jazz, and the league's all-time leader in assists, and the 4th leading scorer in NBA history, and a 3rd scorer that was pretty good. Okay? Hornacek. And the Bulls kept them 20 points below what they scored during the season. How much of a score does your leading scorer need to be when you're going to keep a team 20 points below what they normally score? The worst performance of these 6 that I have listed, 14.8. Okay? The Bulls keeping their opponent 14.8 points below. That is a massive number in basketball. That's a blowout. 14.8 points below what the team scored during the season. Okay? The 2008 Celtics kept the Lakers 14.8 points per game below their season average. Paul Pierce won the Finals MVP, averaging 21 points per game. A lot of players have won the Finals MVP, averaging 21 points a game. It's usually because that team put on a defensive clinic. So the question is not whether Michael Jordan's performances were amazing. Of course they were. The question is does that tell us that he is the greatest player of all time, comparing him to a Wilt Chamberlain, a Kobe Bryant, a LeBron James? LeBron James would most definitely have 6 Finals MVPs if his defense was this dominant. If his defense had been this dominant in Miami, he'd have 6. No question about it. Okay? So, I just say this to add some context. You know, we hear that term a lot in these sort of sports debate spaces. Let's add some context here. Yes, Mike was great in all of those series, but that defense was amazing. And just like I said in the Scottie Pippen video, do we remember the 85 Bears for the season Walter Payton had, or do we remember that defense? Okay? You know, Mike is a great player, but I think about 10, 12 players in NBA history would have those 6 Finals MVPs. Those MVPs don't make them the GOAT. They don't make them the GOAT. And in fact, I would contend that, you know, Kobe probably wins those Finals MVPs if anybody else is his teammate other than Shaq. And he has even close to this type of defense around him.